Most clients don't care what you call yourself. What they care about is whether you can help them, whether you understand their challenges, whether you can help them get where they want to go. Welcome back to the Quiet Leaders Podcast. Today, we're talking about something that comes up all the time inside my programs and in conversations that I've had with other behind the scenes service providers, and it's this. I don't know how to talk about what I do. Now, maybe you've experienced this yourself when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" And suddenly you feel like you need to explain all the different tools that you have in your tool belt, all the different skills that you have, such as your services, the software, the process, your experience. And before you know it, you've spent 5 minutes talking and the other person is more confused than when you started. And if you've ever felt this way, this episode is for you. And let me say, I have been there. I used to do that thing. And it's okay if you start there. At least you're getting started. So now I'm going to simplify this entire conversation for you. So that's what this episode is about today. We're going to touch on why potential clients sometimes don't fully understand what you do, the difference between talking about tasks versus outcomes, and how to confidently explain your work as a strategic partner. And I want to share a mindset shift that has really changed the way that I approach these conversations. So first, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is explaining their work the way they understand it instead of the way a client experiences it. When we're describing our business, we often lead with tasks. We say things like, I manage projects, I create SOPs, I build workflows, I manage ClickUp, I set up Dubsado, or whatever it is that you do. The problem is that most clients don't actually care about any of those things. What they do care about, though, is what those things create. They want more time, better organization, less stress, better communication, more revenue, more freedom. They want solutions. So when we talk about tasks, clients hear work. But when we talk about outcomes, clients hear transformation. And that's a very different conversation because people are not buying the tasks. They're not buying the things that you can do. Instead, they buy outcomes. They buy support. They buy relief. They buy ease. And they buy momentum. And this shift alone can completely change the way that you talk about your business. So now I do want to go into the difference between tasks and outcomes. So let's get a little more practical here. A task might be creating an SOP, managing a project, running a launch, setting up systems, building a workflow. But the outcome is less mental load, better communication, consistency, more accountability, more ease, more freedom. So again, instead of saying, I create SOPs, you might say, I partner with visionaries to create consistency and reduce the amount of information the business owner has to carry in their head. So instead of, I manage projects, you might say, I help businesses execute projects without everything depending on the CEO. So you see the difference here. The goal isn't to tell people everything that you do. Because if you're anything like me, I'm very multi-passionate and I have a lot of different things and skills that I can pull out of my toolbox, pull out of my hat. So the goal is to help them understand what changes because you're involved. So a question I always encourage people to ask is, what is my client's business like before they work with me? And what is their business like after they work with me? The difference between those two questions is your value. It's the value you bring. So the gap between before working with you and after working with you, that's the transformation you provide. That's what we need to talk about. So how do we actually confidently explain our work as a strategic partner? Because again, this is another place that people get stuck, because people assume that confidence can come from having the perfect title or the perfect elevator pitch or the perfect explanation. But confidence actually comes from clarity, knowing who you help, knowing the outcomes you create, and understanding that value that you bring. For example, when somebody asks what I do, again, I'm not going to list the services. Instead, I'm talking about that transformation. And a key word here is we don't want to say, I help or I support. We want to switch it to I partner, because we're creating a strategic partnership here. So I partner with visionaries to turn ideas into execution and create more ease inside their business. It can be as simple as that, because this is something people can understand. Then, if they're curious, they'll naturally ask more questions. And that's really the key. You don't need to explain everything in the first sentence. You just need enough clarity to continue the conversation. Moving into the biggest takeaway that I want to leave you with today, it's that talking about what you do, again, is not creating the perfect elevator pitch. It comes down to building relationships. So many people spend hours trying to find the perfect title. Should I call myself a virtual assistant, an online business manager, a strategist, an integrator, a project manager? Honestly, you guys, most clients don't care what you call yourself. Titles are labels. What they care about is whether you can help them, whether you understand their challenges, whether you can help them get where they want to go. Now, the best conversations I've ever had with potential clients didn't start with me trying to impress them with a fancy elevator pitch or title. They started because I got curious. That's the key word here. Curiosity. Get curious. I asked questions. I learned about their business. I learned about their goals. I learned about what felt heavy. And through that conversation, it became clear whether there was alignment. That's what relationship building looks like. Now, earlier this month, I actually taught a full workshop inside the Integrator Accelerator called How to Talk About What You Do to Potential Clients. Now, in that training, I walked through my complete relationship framework for moving someone from an initial conversation into a potential client relationship. We covered networking conversations, coffee chats, referral conversations, discovery calls, how to determine alignment, and how to explain your process without overwhelming people. So if you're already inside the Integrator Accelerator, the replay is available for you in the portal. And if you're not inside yet, that's exactly the type of practical business training that we cover every month. Now, one of the things I love most about the Accelerator is it's not just this course that you buy. It's actually an ongoing resource library filled with trainings designed to help you build a sustainable business as an integrator and strategic partner. Now, of course, there is core modules on the steps to building your integrator retainer and landing your next client, but it's an ongoing resource library, as I said, We do monthly trainings. You get access to the community portal to ask your questions. You get that support, and you keep building. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with one final reminder. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't obsess over your title. Don't worry about having the perfect explanation. Don't worry about saying everything perfectly. Instead, focus on building relationships. Focus on getting curious. Focus on learning about people. Learn about their goals. Learn about their challenges. Learn about their story. Because when you're genuinely interested in someone, the conversation flows naturally. And naturally, they're going to ask you what you do. And when they do, keep it simple. Share who you help, share the outcomes you create, share the transformation you provide, then continue the conversation. Because this isn't about having the perfect pitch, it's about creating connection. And connection over time. I will tell you guys, my best clients I have known for at least a year. We've built that relationship. And once you create that connection leads to conversations. Conversations lead to relationships. And relationships lead to opportunities. Because the right clients are not looking for a perfect explanation. They're actually just looking for the right strategic partner. Thank you so much for listening to the Quiet Leaders Podcast. I will see you all in the next episode.